It really does deal with a domain of experience that can't be talked about. But one must remember at the same time that there's really nothing at all that can be talked about adequately.
90% of money today is so only 10% of money in circulation today is actually cash. 90% of it's not like money.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So I don't think they should get rid of cash. I think it's going to take more freedom away from people. If they can see exactly where you're spending your money, they can manipulate you a lot easier. They could.
Cash, is it? It's the fraud as well, because you got to think like what I was told is they're trying to put like chips in people now, yeah. So when you pay for something, you've got like a biometric kind of signature to your payments and to your withdrawals. So I don't want it. I'm just saying that obviously that these are things that I've heard of, which would obviously make it a lot more difficult for someone who's doing something like fraud, because
it'd make it very difficult for people to sell drugs as well, right? Yeah, because you know what I mean? It'd make it difficult for a lot.
This is how they sell it to the masses. They tell people it's going to be more convenient, and you get stupid millennials that come along and go, "Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, oh yeah, I like the idea. That's waving my hand and I pay for a bill." They don't think about all the other loopholes.
But it depends. It also depends who's controlling it, right? Yeah, because if you've got someone good who's got everyone's best interest controlling this system, then yeah, it would work. But I don't think the people who are going to control the system will have our best interest at heart, right? So
But that's the key word, though. The key word is control, because you have to understand if they take away cash and it's all electronic, then they do control you. They control when you eat. They control when you buy anything. If they wanted to shut that down for the night, it's going to be no problem. You got cash under your bed, they can't shut it down. So,
Peniro, you see, because we all seem to have found some common ground this morning, I wanted to raise another issue. I hope it doesn't annoy anyone else on the panel, but we can continue with this first. But I just wanted to
big up to everyone on the panel. Big up to Feli. Big up to Brother Schiffer. Big up to everyone watching too.
I wanted to talk about this Dutch Avelli business, and I was having a conversation yesterday, and I think between some of the brothers, we came to the conclusion that to some extent there's a problem within our community of some of these men like young girls. And, this isn't just a problem in our community, it's a problem in many communities. It's a problem throughout Europe, The age of consent in Germany is 14, and I think that, obviously we talk about these things all the time, but,
Well, America just voted for Biden.
What's that?
America just voted for Biden.
Yeah, can you believe that?
I know, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on.
Sure, stupid, man. But yeah.
What do you think about the Dutch Avelli thing, though?
Boy, I've done a video on my channel if anyone wants to go and check it out. Peniros Mind on YouTube. Because a lot of people were quiet about it. And one thing I would like to point out is a lot of people in the industry that are actually making music was quiet about it.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? And that really speaks for itself. Like, I don't know if anyone's into conspiracy here, but I like to call it reality theory, to be honest. But we know that there's a combination when it comes to music and children, man. We know about this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We know about blood sacrifices, and it always involves someone under the age, whether it's a boy or a girl.
But this is the thing now. This is the thing now, yeah. This guy has got a 14-year-old girl's phone number in his phone, innit? Regardless, like at the end of the day, whatever's transpired, to me, having that number in your phone is suspect enough for me. I don't have no 14-year-old girls' numbers in my phone. I think the last time I had everyone's number in my phone that was the ages of 14 or in that region of age groups, like anywhere between 14 to say 18. I must have been 14 to 18, something like that. But not as a big 27-year-old man with a 14-year-old girl's number in your phone. I don't understand. I'm trying to. Does anyone else?
Well, I'm not gonna. You see, the thing is, I'm not trying to understand it. See, that's the thing. It is what it is. I'm not trying to make excuses for him. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. You're a big craft man. You know what I mean? On top of that, you're a man that's got a certain status, so you've got no excuse to be messing with you. It ain't like you can't get women. You look like Elephant Man. You know what I'm saying? So it's not about we can't make excuses for these individuals. And me, to be honest, yeah, I don't really think it's anything to do with the black community. Like, why is the black community doing it so much? I just think it depends on the individual. You know what I'm saying? Because I know a lot of black people that don't do them things. I know a lot of white people that don't do them things.
Yeah, 100. But I'm just saying that within our communities, we have people like this within all communities. And, you know, like I said, I see a problem in things like, you know, if I go to Germany right now, the age of consent is 14. It's just like people can fly out to Thailand and do all sorts of skullduggery. And I see a problem with our governments allowing these things to happen.
Do you know, when this goes, like this sort of stuff, like does go in your community, right? Like you've highlighted it yourself, right? Yeah, where in like when it happens in like white communities or whatever, like that person's not living in that street anymore, man. He's run out of the street, right? Like in prison, if you know that guy in prison has done that sort of stuff, yeah, he's getting like shit. Is it the same within your community? If you guys know someone's done something like that, they're getting.
Bro, I'll be honest. If you done something like that, you don't want to move community. You want to move country. Furthermore, you just want to move world. You want to move to a different planet.
But even in prisons, though, like these people were attacked in prisons.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Don't you remember the bloke who lived just off of Deptford about 2 years ago? There was a big murder inquiry. They didn't know where, and it turned out he was a paedophile. That he'd been a paedophile, and the people would take years to get their own back.
Yeah, no, but that's what it's like, though. That's what it's like. In certain communities, like, for instance, if you go to Jamaica, yeah, like, and a man gets found out to be a paedophile, he needs to leave the country. I
think this is a critique, not to change the subject, but why, like, English people feel about another community. They don't really run their own, like, these people who are doing it in their own communities out, and they, like, sort of like cover it up, but that's a different it's a different subject.
No, but what we got to remember, the government covered them up.
As well, yeah, we've gone through that earlier. Yeah, the government definitely.
Yeah, the government
covered it up because they're involved at the highest thing, from the lawyers to the politicians to the police force to the social workers. Right, they're doing that shit themselves. Right. I do agree with that. I do agree with that. But I have seen from one community though, they haven't really run these people out of their own community.
It depends. You know what? I'll be honest with you. It depends on the community. It depends on what type of guys are in that community. You know what I'm saying?
And then it depends. Bro, the government say one thing, yeah, like, which is that the age of consent is 16 XYZ. But like I said, you can fly out to Germany and the age of consent is 14.
I didn't even know that shit, but that's crazy. That's the same thing that Biden's going on with right now.
You understand? These people that are a part of European Union XYZ, yeah, like, they know what they're doing, innit?
You can get married in some states in America. You can get married at the age of like 14, like to another like 15, 15. It's crazy though.
Las Vegas, innit? Las Vegas and them places, innit?
It's crazy.
Some of the like abortions up to like 34 weeks sometimes in America, man. Like we actually rang up an abortion place itself in Florida, and we said like, we've got 32 weeks pregnant or whatever the missus is, and they were like, you need to ring up Texas. They'll give you an abortion up to like 30.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Corbyn, but if he'd have got in, wanted to make it right to the due date. Hiya, Louise.
Yeah, it's true.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, doing well. Is it your first time on, Liz?
Yeah, this is my first time, so I'm a bit nervous.
You'll be fine.
Well, Louise, you've been waiting for this day for ages to speak to me, man. So.
Yeah, whatever. No, I'm just interested in what you guys are saying, because I've got a 13-year-old, and there's been a couple of things that I've came across that has been quite scary. I don't know if anybody's heard of the app Snapchat.
Yeah.
They started going private groups, and they send like photos. And one day she came through to me and she said, Mum, look at what my friend sent. And basically the girl's 12 years old and she's standing there in her bra and her pants, and I was like, oh my God. It really freaked me out, and I'm like, who's in this private chat? She's like, well, it's just her.
You need to go to the school, you need to go to the mum, you need to tell them both.
Oh no, that's what I did. The first thing I did was contact the parents and say, I think you need to check what's going on your daughter's Snapchat.
You know what's been happening from there? What they do is they start off like that, and then what happens is the boys then blackmail the girls into doing other stuff.
Yeah,
Big up yourself, Louise, man. Thanks for joining the panel and sharing.
Ah, thanks, Shifa. Please don't shout at me, Shifa. Please don't shout at me.
I'm on my best behavior right now, man. I'm not doing controversy anymore. I've had enough.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to keep it serious for a while.
Okay. Yeah. And then there was another incident as well that a boy, you know, he must have thought he was being, you know, like the cool one or whatever, but he actually sent like a dick pic in this private chats as well. Well, that went everywhere, and the school got involved and the parents, and I'm like, this is just crazy. I feel social media there needs to be more control of what these kids are going on and doing.
Yeah, but I actually feel sorry for that kid, because a lot of people are going to think, oh, what a dirty little bastard. He's
exactly.
Doing this.
Yeah.
But actually, he's actually been manipulated as well to think that it's cool to do.
Exactly.
I know.
And he could get blackmailed by someone while he's still young into doing stuff. Do this, or I'm going to tell your mum and dad that you've shown your picture. So they're just as vulnerable.
I know. I mean, luckily my daughter, she's quite a prude. They had swimming lessons, and she didn't even want to put a swimming costume on. So she asked if she could put a t-shirt on. So she done that. But she's very much. It's probably been me installing it to her. You know, you don't need to show anyone your body. Keep it for yourself. You know, until you're older. And I think parents need to keep on top of this. I felt sick when I seen the little girl, because that's what she is in my eyes, just a little girl standing there with her bra and her pants on, and this is all over social media. It broke my heart.
Yeah, it's humiliating, isn't it, for the little girl?
Yeah, and it was humiliating for the parents as well, you know. I mean, the mother was really upset about it, but I had to tell her, couldn't just ignore that.
Yeah, we have to all understand that there's an agenda on the children, you know what I'm saying? And I think personally you can start from social media. I think it started from TV. Because
I agree.
TV, after them 4 channels or 5 channels we had, where it started getting a bit funny, you know what I mean? You know, we started seeing things in things like EastEnders we never seen before, and Hollyoaks and all these weird stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. It's just like they're trying to make them sexualized at such a young age. It needs to stop. It's really, especially because I've got 2 daughters, and you know, I've got a younger one, and I'm thinking, well, what's going to be the norm for her when she's growing up?
That's why they program them, because they program them from early, just like they used to do in the military back in the day. So they, you know, they grow that way and stay that way. Like you said earlier, like the programming is serious. You know?
I know.
It's like in Hollywood, right? They used to have something called the pre-code act, because in like the 20s and 30s in Hollywood, they were like promoting like these LGBT stuff and like degeneracy in the movies. So they brought in this act, and it was abided to up into the 60s, right? Where basically the government weren't allowed to get involved in like the production of like movies or like TV shows and stuff, right? And but that changed in like the 60s, and then like all this degeneracy and like this massive push on this stuff was brought back in when they got rid of this act in the 60s. So there was stuff in place, at least in America, but yeah, there's definitely an agenda with like the music, with like the TV shows, with the Hollywood, with the school lessons. Like I think what they intentionally want to do is breed a generation of paedophiles, in my opinion.
Basically, yeah, and you're right. That would make sense if you're saying the 60s, because that's around the time when the elites actually rose to higher power. So that would make sense.
Well, everyone goes on like how our society is more liberalised.
It's called the Hays Code. I'll post a link to it. It's called the Hays Code.
In the 60s, but if you think about it, in the 60s, that's when it started, because they started with all the LSD and the
hippie nation,
all the hippy-dippy, you know, you can have sex with whoever you like. And that, funny enough, that's when the contraceptive to women came out. So it became easier just to, you know, that's when all the swingers parties and all the bloody orgies started. Yeah.